Welcome to Skaterade. I'm Mac. I said I'm Mac.
Jasmine.
I'm Jasmine.
I'm Mac.
Like, wait.
That's never happened before.
This is a fun game. This is what the game we're playing today. I'm Jasmine today, everyone.
I'm Mac. And I didn't even realize it after I said it. I was just like, yes, I'm Mac.
I was waiting for the moment, and I was like, it's not coming. That's fine.
Switch it up.
All right. So today is a super special treat. We're here with Marawa the Amazing, the incomparable circus arts graduate, 12-time Guinness Book of World Records holder, designer, consummate showgirl, writer, teacher, wife who's had over 7 weddings to Kevin, and mother, Marawa.
Fact. Oh, she did her research.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bam.
Incredible. So many hats.
Yeah. So amazing.
That's a lot of sneaky research there. You covered all bases.
Yeah, we really did. We really did. It's really cool to, research a roller skater who has their own Wikipedia page and just like such a wealth of knowledge out there about you.
It was so crazy. Someone sent it to me the other day and I was like, where did this come from? I don't know. I think Wikipedia is doing some crazy, where they scrape the internet because it had things I didn't even know about myself on there. It was so deep. I'm like, who made this page? It's crazy.
How do you feel about it? Are you like, I don't want this? Or what's it like for you?
Do you know what? I was kind of into it. And the thing that really impressed me was that the picture, you know how everyone's Wikipedia pages have I'm often surprised at the image that there is because it'll be either something really old or not as flattering as you would think of the person, whoever it is. I'm always like, oh, it's strange. I wonder how but the picture of me, I'm sitting in one of those director's chairs with a microphone talking and I look very important. And I was like, where's this picture? I literally didn't know where the picture was from. And then it said at the bottom what it was from. And I was like, oh, it was the one time I talked on a panel for a documentary. It was so random. I'm like, I've never even seen that picture. It was, so yeah, I'm into it. I'll take it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Own it. I love it. That's awesome.
All right. So as you may know, our podcast is very roller skating focused, even though you wear a lot of other hats. So yes. I kind of wanted to experiment with asking folks kind of some boilerplate questions, which I guess in the way is kind of opposite of what Mac was saying. But just in general, off the cuff, how does roller skating make you feel?
Very happy. Very happy. I mean, the joy from experiencing feet that are not stuck to the ground in the way that they are when you're not wearing wheels is if you skate, you know the feeling, and if you don't, then you don't. And it makes me very happy. Simply, as a simple answer, yeah,
I love that. I feel like it's that gliding, that flying, that thing that is just unlike any other feeling. Maybe bike riding a little bit, but skating is very much its own thing,
Yeah. There is a thing that I think there's a similarity with, wheels across the board. You could say cars, you could say bikes, you could say, lots of things. I also blade. I bladed I was old. I was going to say I'm young enough. No, I was young enough, but I am also old enough to have done roller skating and then sort of the birth of blading and that taking off and doing both. And I say to people sometimes that, I was very, very fortunate that for part of my childhood I was living, well, depends how you think about it, but I was fortunate and unfortunate enough to be living in the Middle East straight after the Gulf War, which was a weird time to be there, but surrounded by a lot of marble flooring in shopping centres. And for anyone that skated on wood, on a really smooth rink or anything, or on marble, it is an even more heightened experience of this idea, not about dancing on wheels or traveling distance or anything like that, but this feeling that you can almost trick yourself that your feet aren't actually on the ground. And to me, that's when people talk about flying, people that do hang gliding and people that do base. I mean, you couldn't pay me a billion to jump out of a plane with a chute on my back, or like, I'm just like educated risks, and that is not one of them. I'm like, nope, don't need to do it, don't need to, no. But when you have that super smooth, and when you hear guys out here, like the Cali slide, you know, those little tiny metal and ceramic wheels that can glide sideways on those wooden surfaces, and you just think, yeah, that's what it is. It's that, like, you hit that moment and you're like, oh, this is like when you can get to that, what's that type of dreaming, lucid dreaming, where you can actually like propel yourself and start flying through the air. And it's like, oh, this is it. Like, my feet mean nothing. I'm just whoosh, like moving through space, and gravity is kind of not there. But I don't have to be in an airplane or in one of those like up in space to do it.
Yeah. So I watched your 4-minute bio video on Instagram, which is amazing, by the way. And you talked about living above, you're welcome, about living above a shopping mall in Kuwait, where you had that feeling where I imagine you were skating on the marble floors and, you know, evading security guards. What was that like? I mean, that sounds really elating.
Thrilling.
Look, the Middle, you know, look, I love the Middle East. I've been back there a lot since then. That was 93 at the time. So it was just after the Gulf War. It was Kuwait. It was a lot. And it was not a time where you could, and also I was very young, like, you know, so it wasn't like I was just like, oh, I'm just going to head off after, you know, like, you know, it's also 1,000 million degrees in the middle of summer and stuff like that. But we were in this apartment block that was above, it's, you know, kind of tricky to explain, but it's like a mall that was open, and then there was a big apartment block that sort of was above it. So when you caught the lift down, when the doors opened, you were effectively straight into like this weird shopping center. And I was bored, you know, and I was 11 or 12 or something. And when that was the first experience I'd had of wearing a burqa a lot, you know, going out, and this, everything about that. And it was like, you know, having the advantage of not being brought up and having to, you know, it's different to what, you know, you see what's happening in Iran at the moment in this very oppressive way. It's not a choice. It's not an option, you know, it's very different. But I was, you know, I was brought up Catholic, Muslim. I studied both, you know, did both and at school, and was defiantly very, you know, I was like, how, you know, anything that was like, don't you tell me how to dress, and you know, all that kind of stuff, which has not gone away. But there's something incredible about wearing a burqa, a full burqa, and being anonymous. No one knows who you are. And I was, you know, and I was like, oh, this is kind of amazing. Like, you know, you could, you know, people that hold up a bank in a balaclava, it's, you know, it's like this, you know. And so I used to wear the full burqa, and I would fly around the mall, and these shopkeepers, they were like, she's back. What is or it's back. Like, what is it? And I had these like blue, like electric. Yeah, I had these electric blue rollerblade, hard shell rollerblades with fluoro yellow wheels. Terrible color combination, but you know, that's what I had. And you know, and I'm competitive, and I've always done a lot of sport, and I'm a fast skater. And I was like, I can get around. I can get a lap. I'm going to get the whole lap. You guys you're going to catch me, and I'm going to bang it. I'm going to get all the way back, and I'm going to get in the lift, and you don't know who I am, because once those doors shut, what is it? Who is it?
I love it. I love it. The mystery. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm just impressed that you never really had any wardrobe malfunctions. Like, I went roller skating in a long dress on Halloween, and I ate shit at a party in front of everyone.
Oh, disaster.
And we were the only two people.
You only do it once.
Yeah.
It was not that bad. It was fine. No one noticed.
It was just a huge thud.
There's nothing more terrifying than the feeling knowing that the fabric has been sucked under the wheel, and you're like, oh my, like, there's no way back.
Nope. There was no way back.
Yeah, I feel like I want to ask this one next, because I feel like this is a little bit in line, but we're also wondering, what's the scariest thing you've ever done on roller skates?
I mean, let me just go through the Rolodex here. There's a few. I'd say I mean, I used to, it's not skates, but I used to skate vert on blades. And
So sick.
like learning to drop in on like on a ramp that has, you know, literally a vertical bit before the curved part is, I remember just being, it didn't matter how many times, even once I could do it, you look at the ramp and all I just kept thinking was, okay, but when my wheels are attached to that, then my body has to be and that's not legit. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. 100%. You can't drop it. Like I just couldn't, you know, it's 100%. Like I like, you know, I'm not big on that sort of, you know, I'm respect it and I'm endlessly impressed with people that can do it. And I know, and I can taste it enough to know what it feels like when you get the air and you come. But again, back to the skydiving. I don't need to. I'm good. Just keep me on the ground. But, you know, but that was definitely fun. I've had things like, I remember when I was younger, it wasn't actually scary, but I had a set of skates where the front two wheel, like it was like an old set where the front truck just broke off and I couldn't comprehend. I was like stepping and I was like, what's going on? And I was like, oh, there's no wheels anymore. That's never fun. But yeah, no, thankfully touch some wood somewhere. Nothing too scary. I play it safe.
Yeah, but I still appreciate you naming the piece around vert, because I think, one, that's going to resonate with a lot of our listeners. Like that resonates with me. Like I'm someone who likes to skate parks, but like same thing. I get up to that and I look straight down and I'm like, that's just at a completely opposite angle to the direction that my body, like, I'm just like, I can't, like, getting over that hump is terrifying, you know? And I think like, you know, it's scary.
Yeah. And you do it like, you know, because I'd pumped from the bottom and I was always getting up and I could touch the coping and I was like, cool. I get it. Like, obviously, legit, I'm getting there. But then when you stand at the top and you look down, you're like, nope.
Yeah. It's so real. Thank you for naming that.
So when you were on the Raw Beauty podcast, you talked about your conquering fears in circus school and how you were studying trapeze. And there were moments where you would be convinced that you were going to die. And then when you didn't die, that kind of propelled you forward and trying more and more new things. Do you have any advice for skaters looking to try new things that they might currently be afraid of?
Yes. Oh, God, who was talking about this? Oh, God, I need to try and remember who this was because I really was like, that's the same thing. Who was it? Because it was someone really hilarious like Sylvester Stallone talking about like, you know, but it's that idea of like when you can do something that you're like, I can't do this. Like there's no way I can't do it. You know, it's just like the most terrifying thing, you know, it's like when you nearly get hit by the car and then you don't, and then you get that little adrenaline rush and you're like, I am invincible. I can do it, you know. But I definitely think the one thing I'll say that I see with skating now, being the grandma at the rink and being like, oh no, is I see a lot of people that will throw themselves into things like dropping in or things where they're like, before they've even done it, they're like, I know I can't do it. I know I'm going to get slammed. I know I'm going to hurt and I know I'm going to get bruised and I know I'm going to this, that, and the other. But for something that I don't understand, millennial, I don't know what it is, they're like, but I'm going to do it anyway. To me, I'm like, but do you need to? What is the outcome here apart from the bruise? Because the thing that I think sometimes people mistaken all of that for is that not that they'll be stronger or not that they can say that they did it or whatever, is that they'll be able to learn how to do the thing like the drop in or whatever. And I'm just like, no, that's not how you got to go back. If the goal is to drop in, you got to go baby steps, strong foundation. And I say this is one of the most common things I find when I teach, whether it's skating or hooping or whatever skill it is with people. I'm always like, you got to go back to the basics. And that's the boring bit and that's the hard work bit and that's the less glamorous bit and that's the less exciting bit and the less bruisey bit and the less content worthy footage bit, like all, you know, but that's the real step, you know, to like growing and learning things and actually increasing skills and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I think about this almost in the world of psychology too, and also like developmental psychology, where there's a lot of pieces around like how important it actually is to build competence in that way too, and to also build like a sense of mastery. So when we talk about mastery, it's like, well, if I'm going to try this thing and I can't do it at all, it can also at times then reinforce like, I can't do this thing. But it's like, if you're doing these incremental steps that are like within reach, each time you do that and you achieve it, you're building a level of mastery where then you are going to then have that confidence when it comes to standing at the top of the ramp and looking down. Even if you're afraid, you're like, but I know my body can do it. Versus that thing where it's like, I'm just going to throw myself in and see what happens. Like,
and muscle memory. There's the two things. Muscle memory, like I bang on about this so much, but like muscle memory is like, I see it all the time. I see it with people, and you see them. If the muscle memory isn't in the right place, then you've got so much more work to do. If the muscle memory is not in the right place, then you have to like I do this a lot with hula hoopers. So people that have learnt to hula hoop and they can technically do what they're trying to do. So they want to hula hoop from their knees to their waist, and they've worked out how to do it, and they've done it 1,000,000 times or 20,000 times. And then the muscle memory is set, but the technique is terrible. And then to try and undo that technique and learn a better technique that is not going to injure your body and it's going to be better for your muscles is so much harder when the muscle memory is there. It's much easier to teach someone from scratch than to break a muscle memory pattern and then relearn something. So, always, like, I'm always deferring to people that I know who can have this better skill or have the, to just be like, well, okay, how do you do that? And what are you thinking about there? And what, versus just like, I'll just keep slamming it until it worked. And then, and then knowing the bit behind it, like, are you enjoying it? Like, that's the other thing is like, if I, like when I perform, when I put, now I don't even think about it, but I used to really think about it because when you would perform, if you watch a performer that's doing, unless it's like Vegas and it's part of the act, but when you watch someone doing something, whether it's at a skate park or whether it's on a stage, and it's difficult and it's really difficult and they don't know if they're going to get it and it's a little bit, it makes you anxious. You might not enjoy, it's a bit like, oh, I don't want to watch this. And also the person doing it is like, oh, I don't really want to do this. And it's like, okay, but I did it. And I was like, okay, that's fine if that's what you want to do, but are you enjoying it? Because for me, I'm like, I can split 7, 8 hoops on my body. I have to really think about it and concentrate. But I can just do 3 hoops and it still looks great. And then I'm having a great time. And then everyone's having a great time because it looks, it looks better. So, it's like whether you're doing something for your mind, for your audience, for your skills, for your, there's all these different things that come into play. And I think people don't necessarily, I think we're living through this really bizarre time where it's like, I just need to get it on Instagram. I just need to film it so I can put it up on Instagram, and then I'm going to go back and do it again and film it for Instagram. And then, I've done it. Now I'm going to go home. And it's like, wait, did you enjoy any of that? Like I did this class in LA, the land of this disease. And I'm in the class. It's a 45-minute class. And it's like this machine that does, it's like hard to explain. But there was a girl next to me in the class who came in, full active wear and all the things, and I was like, don't judge. But I was like, but I go. And then sure enough, like the class and the phone comes out, and every single exercise was like, I'm going to film the thing, and I'm going to take a little selfie, and I'm going to do a little thing, and then I'm going to do a little thing. And I'm like, babes, you're missing the whole class. Like you didn't like you're not seeing you. And she's just in a psychosis in her, like the 3 inches between her face and her phone was where she spent those 45 minutes. And then she took her little protein shake and teeter-tottered out of the door. And I was like, was it fun? Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
Part of what you're talking about is like presence too, right? Like where's the presence? Like where's the energy going? And is the energy going into yourself and the actual experience, or is the energy going into curating something or creating something, which to some people maybe that creation is important, but at the same time, right, like where's that presence? Is it split? Are you in the moment? Are you experiencing the thing? Where's the intention?
Yeah, and the speed of it, it's just like, it's like, look, I'm not into drugs, but like I always talk about it like with like with crack and with hair. I'm just like, it's crack. It's all like fizzy, fast, crack. I'm like, just do the hard drugs. Like do that. Like just go all in. Not this like short. It's like everything is just quick. You just need to like step back. I keep referencing this video I saw. It's on the Canadian Film Board. It's like an animation, and it's like, I'm definitely going to get this wrong, but it's something like, you imagine like a child like eating like some cereal, right? And you see the cereal and it's all like little floaty things, and then it's the person eating it, and then it's the room, and then it's the house, and then it's the street, and then it's the suburb, and then it's the country, and then it's the planet, and then it's the world, and then it's the galaxy, and then it's like all the little stars, and then it morphs back into the cereal again. It just keeps going like this loop. And I'm like, yeah, this stuff doesn't matter. Like this, if you're going to spend all day trying to do this, like snap around, yeah, I got this many likes, and then I come to this thing, and then I did this thing, and I did it, and hashtag this, and it's like, okay, but just wait, take a breath. Let's stop working in like posts, and let's like go back to not even weeks and months, but let's go back to like 6 months. Let's go back to years. Let's go back to decades. Like, what do you want in 10 years? Like I say this a lot. I'm like, in 5 years, what's it going to matter? If you spend more than 5 minutes stressing it, like, what's it matter in 5 years? Like, how much energy, where's it going?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a weird time.
Yeah. And it all kind of ties back into, what you were saying with roller skating too, like just going back to basics. It doesn't have to be this like inflated sense of inflated importance of Instagram and likes and followers and all that stuff, like you were saying. And that kind of leads me to a question that I have for you, which is, so you're someone who's capable of larger than life feats. You're literally a record breaker, and you don't seem to take yourself too seriously. How do you stay so present and grounded in the midst of all of that?
I think it's more, nothing really embarrasses me anymore. I think I don't know at what point I think it was around the time of the trapeze. I really just was like, oh, nothing matters anymore. Nothing is embarrassing anymore. But yeah, and that has been definitely very useful in life. But I think I get embarrassed on behalf of people when I see them taking it so serious, like taking anything too seriously. I'm just like, no, but you can't. Like when I see people it's like, no, this is, I feel bad for you. Like it shouldn't be this. It's not this serious. You can't take it this seriously. And for what? Like there's just not enough time on this weird little speck of a speck planet in the speck of a universe to be like, I haven't had a shower today. I'm not having a shower today. Like, that's fine. I'm going to have one tomorrow. I've already decided. Like, it's, it's like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? When I see, and each to their own, like people will, I have friends, I have really good friends. I have, friends that will get up every morning and spend, 45 minutes doing their face before they leave the house. Like, I go, and it's like, and I'm just like, no, but it's not enough. I don't have enough time. I want to do this. I want to, like, all I want to do. And I have 2 friends in London that I miss dearly. And I was writing to one of them this morning, like, all I want to do in the morning is go to a coffee shop, sit on a bench and drink a coffee. I want to sit in the sun. I get every sunrise. I always have before the baby. It's not even a baby thing. Like I get the sunrise. It's incredible. The sun comes up and the sky goes all the colors of the rainbow, literally every day.
I just got chills hearing her describe that.
Clouds, you still get something. But it's
beautiful.
It's like everyone's out here, like, but this is like, and then I know people that are like, they love the nighttime, and like stars are amazing too. I very rarely see them because once that sun goes down, I'm good. Like it's nighttime. It's time to go to sleep. And now we're entering my favorite, because I can't, summers are the killer. Like that sun doesn't go down till 9 p.m. I'm like, oh, come on. But like, if you can just sit, like that's the small talk, the chit chat, like the lady at the coffee, there's always someone at the coffee shop. Oh, it's cold today. Oh, it's a bit hot today. Oh, you think it's going to rain? Oh, it's not going to rain today. Oh, we need some rain. I love that. I'm just like, yep, look, I still got I will carry and empty and listen. I do my recycling. I do the best I can. I go to bed. I don't, I just think if everyone woke up when the sun was up and went to bed when the sun went down, a lot of this light pollution, all these things. I love a takeaway coffee cup. I've got like the reusable ones. I've got them. I do it. I do my best. But there is something I just love. And just let me have it. Let me have this one thing.
You take that one thing.
I'll wash it out and use it later.
You take that one thing. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
So to kind of loop back about how you're not embarrassed about anything anymore, I took some time and I read The Girl Guide, your book, and I loved it.
Yes.
When you wrote it...
thank you.
Yeah, when you wrote it, did part of you know you were also writing for an older audience too? Because a lot of it resonated with me as an older person, even though it's a book for young women.
No. Oh my God, it was so funny because I think I was like 30, maybe 34, 35 when it came out. And so many of my friends who were the same age were just like, I had no idea that chapter 3, like I didn't know about chapter 6 or whatever. They were just like, and I was like, wait, you read it too? And they're like, I didn't have any, I had read it. I was like, wait, so many people in their 30s are reading this. And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But I was so into it. I'm so into it. I actually just did one. We just did a new one this year that's like the 20s into your 30s book, which I think is the one that really covers some like, I feel like I didn't, I think the thing with the Girl Guide was like, I needed to be 30 to have digested all the stuff that happened in your teenage years and go, wait, what? And I was like, oh my God, like I couldn't have been any younger when I wrote it. I needed to have lived all of that to have been able to be like, okay, now I feel like I can write that. And I turned 40 this year. And the book, the 10 major years book, which is designed for your 20s into your 30s, I feel like I couldn't have written that any earlier because I needed to like be like, wait, what happened? Like you get thrown out into the world and then you just like, how are you meant to navigate? Like then what happens? And then you think like all the stuff I thought I would have done by the time I was 30, maybe half of them I've done now that I'm 40. And I still am like, oh, that's never going to happen. Oh, that was, but it's tough. Yeah. It's really tough, some of that stuff.
And to be a young girl or a young person in general and just pick up that book, it really is in a lot of ways an antidote to that whole like social media mindset that you're talking about, because you are just getting down to like the brass tacks of being human. Like you're literally talking about poop and zits and period blood and all of it in such like a candid way that must blow kids away when they read it.
Yeah, it does. And I get like, they wouldn't let us, because you're not meant to be on Instagram if you're under 13, which of course everyone is. So I get these little cute little DMs from like kids and I'm like, oh, I can't write to you, but I'm really like, it's sweet. Like, I'm like, it's really sweet.
Yeah.
It's really like, I think it's in 20 languages now. And it was like, so when we wrote it, I was like, there were a few things about it that I had to really argue for or not argue for. And unfortunately, the American edition, which is probably the one you read, was the one that has had the most alterations for the complicated American audience. You should get a copy of the UK one, just saying.
Noted.
It's got some benefits in it. But it's like, look, just as a fact, I think they did something like 5 changes for the Chinese version and they did about 25 changes for the US version. So,
whoa.
But I really felt like there's something cathartic about it also for myself to be able, there was also writing it for my younger self of like, don't worry about this stuff. I know you think this feels like the worst thing in the world right now, but trust me, it gets worse. Or it's like, and then this, you'll survive it. Like, it's crazy to me. This, like, I think now, especially like now having had the baby, like when my period came back after having the baby, I was like, what the is this? I was like, it's worse. It's like and it's like the fact that every single day women aren't walking around leaking over their pants and leaking out of it. It's like there's so much shit you have to take on at such a young age to survive, literally blood coming out of your body without any warning and also at any time for every year for so long from such a young age, and we have to like keep it together. Just nope, you don't tell anyone. Not even talk. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And like,
I saw this guy at the coffee shop this morning, and he has like the dog that says the leash of the dog says emotional support. It's in 3M, like reflective tape, the red lead with 3M reflective tape. Emotional support. And I was like, wow, there is progress in the fact that we can like people will walk around publicly saying, I have a hard time dealing with fucking life, and this dog helps me. But at the same time, we can't, for many different reasons, say, I've got my period today, because you don't want someone to be like, oh, you're on your period. Oh, is it because you're on your period? Oh, you're feeling it because you're on your period. But you know what? I am on my period, and it's annoying. It's like, I want the emotional support equivalent of whatever that is to be okay without it being a sign of weakness.
So another thing in your book is you urge readers to write down their wildest dreams, even if they thought that they wouldn't come true. Have there been any accomplishments that you've achieved that you wouldn't have thought to write down as a kid that you've achieved now?
I think none of what I've ended up doing has particularly surprised me. But I think if I tried to think about it back in the day, like, I don't think I would have thought that I would have been a full-time hula hooper the way that I became a full-time hula hooper. And I think I would have dreamt that I could have had a signature roller skate, but I don't know if I could have really believed that I could have had a signature roller skate. But then I also have all sorts of insane things that I still want to do. I'm always thinking of something insane that I want to do, and you're like, is that going to happen? How would I get to that? What's the first step to try to get, like how you reverse engineer how you're going to get there kind of thing, which is kind of what that 20s to 30s book is more about.
Cool.
I need that book.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, how do I do anything? So many ideas and dreams, but actualizing them, where to start? How do we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Writing it down. That's the first step.
Yes, step one is
I've
writing
been
it
doing
down.
that recently, and it's actually been very powerful.
So speaking of your signature roller skate, we have a lot of questions about especially your most recent high-heeled skate, which is amazing. So
I need some. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm so excited.
So you're very well known for wearing high-heeled skates. They seem to be your go-to. Did you approach Impala about making a high-heeled roller skate, or did they approach you? Like, how did that all come to be? Because it seems like such a ballsy product to put out.
Yeah.
We must know.
Oh my God, this is such a good podcast story. Okay, this is my best roller skating podcast story. Because I love this story. This story makes me really happy. This is like my big win in life story.
Yay.
Okay. So obviously I skated forever, traveled around the world, hula hooping, which is like weird, but I was also roller skating in those shows. I would skate in the high heels in those shows, and roller skating is having, it's only been in the last few years that it's really, having its thing. But there was, the very first Skate Love Barcelona, which I think was 2014 maybe, which felt like what we're really living through now. But at the time I was like, whoa, we were like, whoa, a roller skating festival in Barcelona. And this is what was amazing about social media, is that you could hashtag roller skating, hashtag hula hoops, and suddenly you were finding these people all around the world. Like, that's the internet gone good. Like, finally the internet was useful. It was like, oh my God, I was connecting with people, I could search for things, and I loved that. Like, it's the reason I loved YouTube. I was like, oh my God, you can find, I love anyone. It's the same as Guinness World Records, people that were experts in strange little, someone that can juggle golf balls and do it underwater, and someone that can, all these different bizarre skills. So suddenly, when Facebook still was not what it's become, there was Skate Love Barcelona, and I was the majorettes in London, the girls that I trained. There was 10 of us. I think it was 10 plus me or 12 plus me. There was either 11 of us or 13 of us. I can't remember. All went to Barcelona. And Jake, my friend Jake from Loco Skates in Brighton, shout out to Jake, legend. I wrote to Jake. I was like, Jake, I need 10 pairs of roller skates, but I need them cheap. And he hooked us up with some great roller skates. And so everyone got roller skates because not all the girls knew how to skate, but I was like, we can do this. We can do this. Poor Sonia, I dragged her on some really long skates. She really was not having it, we all went to Barcelona. And when we got to Barcelona, it was a very small group, first year, still a scene, but very small scene. But it was people that I really connected with because they were the one skater from Germany, the one skater from the Philippines, the one skater from Canada, the people that were there, you know, when you used to go down and skate down the bike path or you'd skate at the rink and stuff, there'd be just one or two of these other people where you're like, I know you. I know you know what I know. I know you feel it. And, you know, and then, you know, and I'd already done the pilgrimage. I'd gone to Central Park, and there's obviously Central Park has been there forever. And I've been to Venice Beach but suddenly it was in Barcelona, like people that had really committed, who'd traveled, flown to come and have this experience. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like we were all in one place, and Barcelona is very smooth. It's very smooth. We were just skating everywhere. Great time. So, you know, that was like skating was happening. And I'd always, you know, I knew people from skate shops. I knew Jake, you know, I'd met the Moxie girls in LA or in Long Beach. And, you know, and I would find out brands because I've always like, I go all in. I'm like, once I'm, you know, and I would find out who the reps are, and I'd be like, you know, we should do a roller disco. We should do this event. Like, your roller skates are ugly. Like, you could only get black, white, and tan. And I was like, you know, we need to do more colors. And, you know, and I'd be ranting to anyone who would hear me out, not many of whom would. And I'd tried working with every skate brand I had tried to work with and was like, come on. I was like, people will come, but the products aren't there, and you guys are, and it's still nerdy and it's still ugly, but like it could be so cool. Like, you're just missing all the signs, you know. People want to exit. It was the same with the hula hoops. You know, I had the same thing with hula hoops. Everyone that, you know, and then I ended up making my own, and it was like a whole thing. And hula hooping, like anyone who I've worked with or taught, or, you know, hula hooping's had its times as well where it comes up, it gets popular, and it goes away and it comes back to, you know, but it is the best fun. It is so fun. And it's exercise at the same time. Same as roller skating. It's fun. You know, all this like, I did a 5K run and I did some kettlebells and I went on a Peloton bike, or I did some really hot yoga and I didn't enjoy, I like hot yoga, but, you know, but people that, this idea that it's work, that it's unenjoyable, you know, it's so depressing to me, you know. You know that thing you feel when the energy's good and when there's more, you know, it should just be effortless. It should all be effortless. It can be. Not that it is, you never have to work, but you can work towards these enjoyable experiences and times. And I am just out there calling every damn skate brand, and no one wants. It just was impossible. And then I get this DM from Impala Skates. Hi, we'd like to send you some free skates. And me, on my usual like snobby Instagram mode, I'm like, you can send me some skates, but I'm not going to write about them. I'm not going to do any. I don't do sponsored posts. I don't do any. I don't do any of this stuff. Who are you? Who are you? Because who's Impala Skates? I was like, I've never even heard of you. And then they send me some skates. And so I open the box, I get the skates out. I'm like, I'm like, these are like, because I worked in a skate shop for years. I left that bit out. When I was in Australia, I worked as a teenager. I had a business card back then that said skate technician. I was like, did all the courses. K2 would come into town. Bauer would come into town. Rollerblade would come into town. Sketches would come into town. You know, learn about all the different, you know, what ABEC bearings there and the densities of the wheels. And then I learned about like how, you know, you get like a Kmart or a Target pair of skates that were like, this is literally a plastic frame, like with plastic, like these are just going to fall apart. Like, you know,
Scary.
These are terrible and terrifying. So I'm taking this Impala skate apart and checking all the bits. You know, I'm like, this is a good skate. This is a skate. And I was like, what's the price point? I'm like, it's $120. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, finally, because skating, as much as anyone doesn't want to say it, was a real elitist sport. You know, you couldn't get an entry skate for less than $400 or $500. And if you're a kid, your parents are not forking out for, you know, most parents' kids. I was really lucky. My mom, like my first pair of roller skates, she got out of it's like the equivalent of Craigslist, the trading post. It was $20 pair of roller skates, just so happened to manage to get I wore them, my brother wore them, my sister wore them, my other brother wore them, like everybody wore those skates. And they were like a proper skate. But I would go, anytime I went to the rink or drag friends in my 20s, I'd be like, please come to the roller disco with me. No one would. Now everybody's calling me trying to get skates. But no one would come, and I would feel bad because, you'd get those rental skates and they sucked. Like the wheels are going backwards and the rental skates don't have any type of feeling as to what a real skate felt like. But you couldn't feel it without a $400 and $500 skate, which no one wanted to invest in. And suddenly, here's the skate. They go down to a kid's size, $120, made properly, metal parts, proper bearings, proper wheels, proper stoppers, everything's adjustable. I was like, this is a good skate. And also it was hologram. I was like, woo, hologram. I didn't like the colors of the wheels. I changed all the wheels and stuff around. But I was like, this is a good skate. Another DM, slide back in the DMs. Mara, we've got a leopard print skate. I was like, excuse me? They're like, we've got a leopard print skate. Can we send you the leopard print skates? And I was like, well, you can send them to me, but I'm not going to write about them. I'm not going to post any, send the leopard print ones come. I was like, ooh, leopard print ones, like, again, changed all the wheels, changed all the things. I was like, but this is a good skate. I'm like, this is a good skate. So I'm asking people in LA, I'm like, what's the deal with these skates? Like, where is this brand? Like, what's the deal? And then it was Indy, but she had, what was it called?
Planet Roller Skate.
Planet Roller Skate. And I was like, what? Planet Roller Skate. And I was like, who's this Impala thing? And she said, oh, it's Globe. And I was like, because when I was a little teenager back in Melbourne, the Hill brothers, who lived in Box Hill, which is where the skate shop was that I worked in. The skate shop I worked in had a skate park upstairs, and we used to teach people. You'd buy your skates and you got 2 weeks of free lessons because we were like, you have to learn how to fall. If you don't learn how to fall, you're screwed. So we would teach people. Anyway, they were from Box Hill. Globe was like one of the biggest skateboarding brands of all time. And I was like, wait, they started Impala? And then I was like, because also they were in Melbourne. And I was like, that's my hometown. I was like, I'm in LA. I was like, these guys are from Melbourne. So I'm like back on the laptop to the rep from Impala who's been calling me. And I'm like, excuse me. So here's the thing. The skates are great. They're really great. But I just found out. I was like, are you guys, I was like, is it finally, does someone understand what's happening? And she was like, I was like, can I talk to you on the phone? And she like calls me and she's like laughing. And I was like, I have been trying for years to get, and she was like laughing. And I was like, listen. And then that's how it happened. That's how the first skate happened. She was like, and I was like, yes. I was like, it needs to be this color and I want it to look like this and I want to do this. And for the first time in all of my 30-something years, finally someone listened. And I was like, thank you, every bit of the universe, for coming through. I will not disappoint. I'm going to make the most beautiful roller skate. And that's how the rose gold skates happened. And I was like, this is the greatest. But from the moment of the rose gold skates, even before, because I can't help myself, even before the rose gold skates, I was already whispering, but can we do a high heel skate? But can we do a high heel skate? Yes. Can we please do a high heel skate? I just want to say, can we just also eventually, can we just please maybe one day, could you just put on the list that maybe we'll do a high heel skate? And so almost at the same time, because that was obviously anything, it's not just like, oh yeah, let's just do it. It's like, you got to test it, you got to get the materials, you got to check the colors, you got to do and then trying to create a new type of skate. It's not an existing skate. It's a new type of concept. Like it's not a skate. It's a boot. It's a boot and with wheels. It's a totally different thing. And then making it safe. I'm not like about to be like, yeah, here's a 6-inch stiletto heel. Off you go. Good luck. Like you can't do that. There's a level of responsibility to make it usable. And it was very hard for me because I'm so used to skating in such high seats. I was like, but I was like, I think this is good. But I was like, I think this is good. But, trying to test it on girls, trying to test it on boys, trying to test it on like tall people, short people, everything, trying to test across the board to see how people felt about it. And it's expensive and it takes time and it takes research and it takes not one person's enthusiasm. I can be I got a lot of ideas, but it takes a team. It takes a big team. And Impala were there and they backed the vision. And I was like, I'm like ride or die for them, because I'm like, you're all the elements, combined, plus you're from my hometown. What are the chances? I was like, this is nuts. So I think that was your question. How did the skates happen? That's how the skates happen.
Yeah, and then some.
I mean, that was so like fun to listen to and to hear about. And I think like getting some of that background from you is really interesting too. Yeah. Clearly, but it also, like, for me, what I was kind of thinking about as you were sharing is like, let this be a lesson to everyone that like planting seeds, like shit takes time to grow. Like you were planting, those seeds were planted for you when you were a skate tech, period. And like, here's this thing that got built on and built on and built on because certain things came together, certain opportunities came together. Maybe there's some level of chance in that, but also like you had all this background that you'd been building for a long time where you were able to throw in a bunch of expertise, these ideas, and then also, again, finding that team. Like, I think it's just a lesson around like, again, planting the seed of like heeled skates, and eventually that does come to fruition. But again, in this culture we're talking about, that's so right now, like, what a lesson in what can be built over time when you're headed in a direction and you're taking steps that are like in alignment with what you're interested in, what matters to you, when you're thinking kind of critically about like, are these people aligned with my vision? Can these people back the thing I'm excited about? Do I want to back the thing they're excited about? And like really making decisions from that place instead of that like instant gratification place, very cool for me to listen to. Also, I don't think you know this about me, but I'm also a skate tech. So like, I owned a skate shop for a few years on my own in like Ohio, and then moved to New York, and I'm like working as a tech here. So I also like, I love the tech stories, and I was like, we have to ask about the skates because I must know. I need the details. Whatever you want to share,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know what I can't find here, and people keep being like, you are making that up. But like when the shop I worked at was skate, ski, surf, so we did ski boots as well. We did everything, and because we had the ski side of things, and I've been really struggling to find where to point people to here. But like I say to people, because I have wide feet, and a lot of people have wide feet, or they have like a toe that's a bit whatever, and it's tricky with boots. But we used to have these like things that you could insert into like heated metal shaped bars and stuff, like the stuff I know you can get like from cobblers and stuff, but it's for skates where you could really reshape and fit skates to fit, because no one wants to have their toes doing crossing over each other and stuff like that. And I know with the heel skates, because I had said I know that there's going to be a lot of boys that want to wear them too. I know there's going to be a lot of wider feet that want to wear them, and it is a boot. It's a narrow boot, and I'm used to jamming my feet into anything that doesn't fit. But you can widen, you can get blocks put in, and there are processes in like heating boots and stuff to do that. But that's what was so nice about like, I feel like with the death of retail, with the death of like, everyone's buying stuff online, trying it out at home, not having any actual, all their information is coming from the internet. It's just not safe. It's not enjoyable. It's not grounded as an experience. And I really miss the shop, and I really miss the shop that the shop I was at doesn't exist anymore. And I know there's like Pigeon has a shop out here. I know Intuition are on Santa Monica, them skates down in Santa Ana. But being able to go to a shop, like I would never want to buy. I can't imagine, and I know that's how all my skates are getting bought, but like I can't imagine buying skates on the internet. Like it's crazy to me. Like you have to go, you have to try, you need to talk to people, you need to ask questions, like find out from the experts. I get it, like t-shirts, socks, maybe whatever, but like anything so specialized like that, that's part of it.
But people don't know, it's
and
like,
that's what makes me sad. I hope that like,
I mean, it's like fast fashion now. It's like people are like, I want the skates, I want them tomorrow. And it's like, no, there's so much that goes into this thing, And
yes.
I would get so many people at my skate shop that would come in that would be like, I bought these skates online, but it seems like they don't fit. And I'm like, yeah, why would they? Like, let's get you in something that will fit. Like, why would they? This is such a specialized tool. Yeah. This is a tool, and you need to treat it, you need to respect it and treat it as such. And that type of interaction is actually so important, So like, yes,
it really is. And the two of us both currently work at a skate shop. Mac builds skates and I work on the sales floor. And it really is such a privilege to interact with people trying on multiple types of skates to see what works for them. And we do have a stretcher like you were describing, so we can widen skates and things like that. And people are often thrilled that we have that device, that we have measuring sticks that people step on and they're like, whoa, I haven't done this in decades.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very cool.
And you need that's really good to hear, because it is so much of it, and so much of it is like not internet education, actual education of like, because that thing of people that would be like, oh, I got these skates, they're too small, and then you measure them and you're like, oh no, they're too big, like you need to, like, people that just, they haven't laced them up properly, there's so many little things that I wish I could do that for every person that puts mine. I'm like, no, make sure the laces, like I put lots of cards in the box when you get the skates that like I've tried to like cover as much as I can in these like notes about the skates to sort of tell people, don't do this, do this, like the laces should be like this, like to help them when they're not in a retail environment.
I almost always find too that like as soon as you start offering education, at least like on a sales floor or something, to customers, they always have more questions.
Yeah.
People always want to know more. And like for me, it's very important that someone's walking out the door and I'm like, about this tool, enough to be self-sufficient enough to, if not be able to fix it, to be able to come to me later and say, I've kind of diagnosed this thing a little bit. I know that this is roughly my problem. Can you help me with it? Like I think that's so important, and having that level of competency to me also adds that layer of safety, right? It's like, do you know to check your toe stops sometimes if you have a toe stop that has one of those like lock nuts and it's going to probably fall off, like, do you know what to look for if your skates are not functioning well? That's a safety issue. So it's like, you don't really find that information online unless you seek it out. And a lot of people don't know that they need it too. And then even fit is a safety issue, Mm-hmm. So like speaking of foundation, speaking of like.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
So we were talking about your own high-heeled skates that were custom built for you. We were trying to understand exactly how the engineering behind this works.
Is it proprietary or can you share it?
Everybody's trying to understand it. No, I can share it. I feel like I can.
It seems like it's like a plate under the entire shoe, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it's not rocket science. If you put a normal shoe, maybe a really, really well-made one, but no, but even a really well-made one, if you put wheels under the heel and under the toes and then put your body weight on it, it's just going to go and split, It's not going to work. So you have to make a plate that goes up the whole way. So it goes under the heel, up, all the way down and across the front. But then again, if you're in the technical side of skating, you'll also know that like, wait, that doesn't work, because the wheels, normally you have the two wheels like this and then they're attached through there. So you have that thing where you turn, and the wheels will lean in and, and adjust. Obviously that's not happening. It's a different type of thing. But again, with all the years of experience, I can make it work.
Don't try this at home, kids, is what we're hearing.
But I'm not like, it's very much a don't try this at home. And it's very much, it's very much a that's showbiz. Like, it's fun, but it's not as fun as regular skates.
No.
But then it's fun because it's heels. So, you win some, you lose some. It's a different, you can never beat the feeling of squatting in a pair of heel skates and just being able to glide, because when you're in heels like that, I can sit there all day and just boop, boop, boop. Like, it's the funnest. And I love heels. Yeah. So there's all that like that you feel when you put on a pair of heels and you're like, ooh, 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 plus the wheels, ooh, 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 gliding around.
Yeah. From one heels lover to another, I just want to personally thank you for bringing heeled roller skates into the mass market, because listen, it needs to happen. It needed to happen.
Yeah. We're working on, I'm going to really throw myself under the bus here, but we're working on, so every year I do a Paradise Papers, which is like the wrap up of what's been happening in the year, or something that like feels significant for the year. I try and like, we do a different theme. Exactly. Last year's was literally the laziest one, because last year I was like, I just couldn't get it together last year. I had like the baby, it was like all kinds of cases. We've had the pain issue, which is all around when we started bruising, and we had like stuff about pain and injury and like what that is to skating and what a bruise, like it was all about that, all deep dive into that. And then we had the pain issue, then we had the quarantine issue, which is all like, what is happening? Like, all of that isolation and how we felt and internet and things around that. Then I had a baby last year and I cannot get myself together. So we did like more just about Paradise stuff and our favorite products and things like that. And then this year, if we ever get it finished, is the high-heeled skate issue, which is a deep dive into like everything around heels, the high heels. I'm really excited. I'm really excited because there's a couple of things in there that I don't want to give away. But you just reminded me about the high heel thing and the high heel skates. But I'll tell you this much. You know that picture of like the high heeled skate that's like a gold skate and it's just 3 wheels? So it's like a gold shoe and it has one wheel. Like anyone who roller skates, especially anyone that is interested in heels and skates, has seen that picture a million times. Every time it goes around the internet, oh, look, you like this. Oh, look, you like this picture. I was like, oh, I've seen it 7,000 times.
I reposted it yesterday.
There you go. But do you know where that picture comes from?
No. No one credits it.
I found out.
Let us have
I got the whole story. And it's coming. So.
Very excited to hear that story. One thing that I was excited. Really...
oh my God. It's such a good story.
One thing that I was really shocked to read in your book, The Girl Guide, is you gave advice not to wear heels more than a few hours and that you should bring flats with you. And I was so surprised to hear that advice from you because I just imagine you wearing heels all day, every day. I just thought you had a high tolerance.
Jasmine's projecting a lot onto you.
No. Absolutely not. No, I am. It's funny. We were with some friends on the weekend and they have a daughter she's 13, I think it was. And she's got the Girl Guide. And I was like, you're not allowed, because she was asking me about, and I was like, because she was asking me about skates. I was like, nope, not. I said, not next year's birthday, maybe the birthday after. But I was like, nope. Yeah, no, look, as much as I love them, it's performance. And it's like, it's like complicated fashion that's uncomfortable. It's not that it's uncomfortable, but like there's a real empowerment and there's a real, with good heel, and there are so many different types of heels. Like you have, you see people like commuting to work in a heel and they're going to be in like one of those little halfway, like I call them like a halfway heel, like a 3-inch, like in between heel, it's not up. It's not like a woo. It's like, I'm just wearing a little bit of it. That's my worst nightmare. I'm like, it's like, why are you, this is uncomfortable. This isn't, but if it, and then each to their own. Like if it makes you feel great, if you like how it looks and you feel, then fine. But me, I'm just like, no, I'm flats. But we're going out. Like we're having are we going out? Yes. I've got the right shoes for that. I'm ready. Oh, you're going to go? Yes, I will go all out. But I'm also very like number one thing, body, like this is the temple. Look after, stretch the muscles, the legs. And I do think people are really surprised in that, because I get a lot of people that like, one of my videos will go around the internet and everyone's out there with their like, she is going to be walking in a wheelchair and like her knees are going to break. Her ankles must be, and I'm like, my ankles are fine. My ankles are beautiful. My ankles are slick. My knees are in perfect working order because I'm not running around. You think I'm wearing, yeah, exactly. And I'm strong. I'm not like, nothing makes me more upset than seeing a girl who's visibly uncomfortable but trying not to be walking in a pair of heels, especially if it's daytime. I'm like, oh, no. You don't, because again, back to fast fashion, like nothing would, like you want a good shoe, like a beautiful, comfortable, like I'm very interested and very fascinated with footwear and people that make shoes. I did a show for Louboutin this year. And the history of like, there was a Louboutin exhibition with like all the like feet and performers and the arches and how you shape the foot, and it's very interesting and beautiful, and it's art, it's fashion, it's everything. But if it's not backed up with strong ankles and strong knees, then it's worthless.
Mm-hmm. So I do have some fashion related questions for you. Speaking of fashion, so one of the inciting moments that we had when we were thinking, about who we wanted to interview is Max or your heel release party with your boy gang and the heeled skates and all the orange and fabulousness.
Yes!
Can't get over it.
Yeah.
I'm still not over it. I'm never going to be over it.
And it got me to thinking about your relationship with costume and fashion. And I know you have relationships with particular designers, like Miss Edgley was one that I saw you posted about a lot. Can you talk a little bit about,
Yes.
how fashion works as an extension of your creative process?
Yes, I love Alice. Put it in concrete, shoot it to the stars. Alice Edgley is my favorite. She is the bomb. Alice and me met on the dance floor. Paulie and me met on the dance floor. Me, Alice, and Paulie all met at different, but the same time at the same club. All my best friendships are dance floor friendships. That's where the best friendships are made. And Alice likes to dance too. And Alice and me are like, couldn't be more opposite. She's like a beanpole. She's like a tall, skinny little beanpole, but she can make anything for anyone, and she understands movement. She understands flexibility and lycra. And I, this is stretchy. Everything I wear is stretchy. I don't, I like fashion, but I don't like being uncomfortable. Same with the heels thing. It's like I can't, if I wear a heel, if I find a really beautiful heel and I put it on and it's a bad shape, and I put it in and it doesn't support, I've got a very high arch, I'm not going to wear it. Like, I'm not going to, I've got to be comfortable. Heels should be comfortable. They can be comfortable. And clothing can still be very formal, very glamorous, very sparkly, very all the things, but it can still have a full range of movement if it's made well. And this is coming back to the fast fashion thing. It's like you don't want to invest in stuff that's just going to fall apart and doesn't last. And this is something I'm reckoning with at the moment that I'm finding very odd because, like I said, I just turned 40 and I don't do fast fashion. I don't do, I've tried very hard to avoid buying stuff that's, but I just seem to have so much stuff at the moment. And I'm like, why have I got so much stuff? And I was like, oh, because I'm 40 now. Like, I've been buying stuff for 20 years. And I got the same
archive
thing. Like, I came out in a pair of socks the other day. Yeah, it's like an archive. Like, I was wearing these socks that are they're like a stocking, but they're just to the knee. And they're like skin color, and they have blue, 4 different shades of blue polka dot. They're Wolford socks. And there was someone at our house, and she was like, "Oh, I like your socks." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I love these socks, but I've just got a hole in one of the toes, and because they're like a stocking, then my toe sticks out. It's really annoying, so I have to flip them. I wear them upside down, so then my toe doesn't stick out." And I said, "Oh, I just got a hole in them," and I was like, "Damn, it's like so annoying." And then I was like thinking about when I'd got them. And I was like, I remembered that I'd had them like at least 2 years before I met my husband, which means that the socks are like at least 14 years old. And I was like, this is why I feel like I have so much stuff, because the stuff I buy, I remember I got them on sale. Wolford, make the bet, just for the record, Wolford, bras, socks, knickers, like I love it, but it's very expensive, but they have great sales. And that's why I've got so much. I feel like I have so much stuff at the moment because it's never going to die. This stuff is made so well; it's going to last forever. And all the Edgley stuff that I get from Alice, I have every piece of Edgley I've ever bought still because she makes it to fit, and it's made from great fabrics, and it's stitched really well. And if it does get a hole in it, you stitch it up, and it's it's made to last.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about like the self-adornment piece? Like, it sounds like fashion is one of those things that I think is often about self-adornment, also like self-expression. And so we kind of have this question about like an assumption, I guess, that it's like somewhat, self-affirming for you. But I wonder if you have any thoughts on this idea of like self-adornment, what it means to like dress to go out, versus like for your morning coffee. Like, what is that process like for you? How does it feel?
Yeah, it's weird. I think about this a lot because I get really annoyed that like, if I have a big show and like, I haven't been doing it for the last few years. Like maybe 2018 was really when I started calming down from I would have called full-time performance, where I was traveling and performing a lot, and it was my job, and so I felt like I was justified in all the costumes that I bought, and but the costumes are expensive. Like, good costumes are expensive, and I always wanted more costumes and more crazy, kind of really big, crazy, but they're expensive, and cabaret doesn't pay maybe as much as people think it does. Like, shows don't, it's like, well, I'm getting paid this much for the show. How much can I afford to spend on the costume? All of that. And then I was like, but I only wear them for 5 minutes on stage. But then the clothes that I'm wearing 99% of the time, are just falling apart and like the leftovers. And I'm like, I should be spending the most money on those clothes because that's the stuff I wear the most. I'm kind of constantly tortured between the two ideas. I like a uniform. I've been wearing the same outfit for, I'd say, at least a week, but but not the same version. So I wear this same like turtleneck and the same pair of trousers, and I have 3 pairs of these trousers, and I have about 6 of these. And we've just crossed into that time where it's like a little bit chilly, so I'm like, well, that's my uniform. That's all I wear.
Yes.
Which I love. Keep it easy.
Resonate with that. I resonate with that so much. I have the same 3 pairs of track pants and the same 3 pairs of like stretchy jean type pants, and I'm like, they're just on rotation, period.
Yeah.
It's easy. They're comfortable. I like them. They last.
That's it. And it just like takes out all the drama, and you find what works. It's that real, like, what's that thing? Fashion is temporary, style is forever, or something like that. You just, I know that this fits, it's comfortable, it works. And I'm not interested in trying to I worked in, like, when I was much younger, I worked 2 retail jobs when I was at circus school, and then when I just finished circus school, and I sort of went into full-time retail while I was recovering from circus school. My body was like, whoa, what happened? And I was working at sort of 2 polar opposite. Like, one was it was like the equivalent of like a Zara or a Topshop or something. And then the other one was more like a Dover Street Market. It was like the 2 sort of polar opposites.
Totally.
Neither shops exist anymore. I'm 120 years old, but back in the day. But it was amazing just seeing the difference of people that shop very specific, limited sort of like, and they have a real style, and they're like, no, this is what I like, and I buy these 2 pieces every year, and that's what I wear, and and I still have the 2 pieces from last year because they still last, versus they're like repeat customers that are coming in every week spending $100 on like, got a couple of T-shirts and this 1 pair of pants and this jacket that's really into fashion right now, and then next week, we're going to go to that other shirt, and it's like, ooh, that's like crack versus heroin kind of like thing again.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the 2 different, just these little, and it's like, you still ended up spending the same amount of money at the end of the month, at the end of the year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you say that philosophy of having a uniform and having this experience with both high-end and high street fashion has influenced your own brand, I Want to Go to Paradise? Oh
my God. I'm so glad you asked that question. I was just thinking that as you were asking it. Yeah. So this was a big thing for me with Paradise, and it doesn't end. It's constant, because Paradise I feel like I made Paradise for the 20-year-old version of myself. I didn't want to sell anything on there that I didn't feel that I could back, like I was, and everyone gives you advice. Everyone's got their opinions about how you should be doing it, and you should be doing it like this. No, you should sell this. And I know I could sell a lot more stuff, make a lot more money selling cheaper stuff, more in fashion stuff, temporary stuff, shorter collection stuff, of the moment stuff. But for what? Again, back to the like cereal bowl out into the galaxy, and then back to the cereal bowl. Like, in 10 years, what does it matter? And what I really want, and Alice was the one that really, she said something to me one day that really made me switch direction with how I was doing Paradise. She was like talking about some sort of Instagrammy person who was like, had their, everyone's got their brands and everyone's got their this, that, and the other. And everyone's like, oh, use my coupon code and get it from Amazon. And she was like, look at this person, like, she's got this label and she's like doing this thing and blah, 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 blah. But she doesn't even wear her own stuff. She doesn't even why would you have a brand if it wasn't what you were interested in? And it really helped me like understand what I was trying to do with Paradise, because I was like, and it was also sort of when activewear was becoming like this thing, and I was like, what is this? And P.S., if you really want to do part 2, because this is like, I can't get into this today because it will go down a deep rabbit hole. But if you want to know what I think was the most influential thing of the 21st century so far, it was Avatar. And we're just about to get our second Avatar movie 13 years later. But like, people don't think about this enough. Avatar is where activewear came from. Like, the blue people allowed us to go into like, yeah, I'm naked. It's cool. I'm like walking down the street and I've got alternative stitching going up my butt crack that looks like I'm wearing a thong, but that's cool because it's like shaping me and I feel fantastic. I'm confident. I'm great. I'm happy. And I feel fine. Everything's fine. No.
Thank you, Avatar.
Absolutely not. Because also all this, it's Avatar. That's where I'm telling you, that's where it came. Anyway, it's too, I can't get into it. You can think, but trust me, you're going to come back to this and be like, oh my God. But it was Avatar. And then also all this like, and not only am I wearing activewear, but it's made from recycled bottles. Did you know that? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like asking I have friends that work in fashion and I'm talking and they're just like, yeah, this whole like recycled bottle clothing thing is like, it's shedding microplastics back into the ocean. Like, and I was like, wait, what's happening? And I was like, this is really bad. But throughout all of it, I was like, wait, I'm active. I like doing, but like, as you know from the book, I'm very conscious about, especially with women, that it's breathable. You don't want to be wearing like some very highly unbreathable plastic fabrics in your crotch. Like, no. I want cotton lycra, cotton spandex, they call it here, but a high percentage of cotton that's stretchy. And we know, we can get into it. Spandex is not great. Spandex isn't, but I'm doing my best. Cotton is not stretchy. So, but it's breathable. And I spent a lot of time finding a supplier in LA. I'm not trying to fly stuff around the world if I can help it. And I found the cotton leggings, the cotton unitards, cotton lycra unitards, sports bras, stuff like that, the stuff you're wearing, that's made in LA. I know the lady that runs the company. She's got 3 kids. She's great. We have chats all the time. She's also trying, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I want. Like,
yeah.
The best version is I go and move to the forest and I live in a cave and I do nothing and I'm quiet and I do my best. That's my carbon neutral at its best. In the meantime, like, I know that the 20-year-old version of myself is looking for those cotton lycra bike shorts because she wants to go to the skate park, but she doesn't want alternative stitching up her butt crack and she just wants to have breathable workout situation. And I want to do hot yoga, or whatever. That was really one of the big things with the unitards is I love hot. I know I said it before and I did say it quietly and I'll say it again. I love hot yoga. If you don't enjoy it, you shouldn't be doing it. I love it, but you go through so much clothing because you get saturated every time and you've got to wash and constantly. And I'm not trying to have a look when I go. I just want, simple. Like most of the stuff I buy from the shop is black or navy, but I also love that there's pink and green and orange. I don't like green, but I do sell it because people love green. There's blue, there's yellow, there's orange, there's tanned colors, there's brown, there's neutrals, there's white so that you can go and dye it whatever color you want. We've got tie-dye ones. And I wanted it to be the place where, you don't have a lot of money at any point in your life necessarily, but you shouldn't have to have fast fashion. And it's hard because it means you don't make a lot of money. Like I could sell the bike shorts for a lot more. I think that they used to be 15 and then obviously everything goes up. I think they're 25 now, but they're not 65.
Right.
I mean, I've seen bike shorts for $130 for a pair of bike shorts, but it's like, I'm trying to keep them as affordable as possible because I want that version of myself and that version of shopper that I know is out there to be able to find stuff to work out in that's comfortable and breathable and is about that, not half a dozen other things,
I love that. And I love wearing your stuff, and so does Mac.
I do too, yeah. I love the bike shorts.
Yeah.
Way.
And I know that Mac has to run soon. So I just have personally one other question for you. I don't know if you have one more. But one thing that really wanted to ask you is watching you fly around in skates and flying through the air in skates and smashing pinatas, like it all seems like it would be really cathartic. What does it feel like to be out there? Has performing become like breathing to you? Is it a therapeutic process? Like what goes through your mind?
It's very cathartic. The pinatas are very cathartic. But I will say this, especially in regards to the hula hoops. I have a real love-hate relationship with the hula hoops. I take deep, and this was something obviously I've had enough time and been around for long enough to think about this, but performing is really weird to me. Like performing, especially now with Instagram is a type of performing. Everything online has sort of become a type of performing. It's a new type of performing. We don't really know what it is yet. I'm definitely this is like the avatar thing. Like we're definitely going to hit the point very soon. Maybe not soon enough, but I'd say in the next 5 to 10 years where they turn around and be like, oh, cigarettes are bad for you. Like they're going to be like, oh, social media's fucking like, it's like, yeah,
we're already doing that.
This. And it's like, no, that's fine. Keep posting, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are already talking about how bad it is, addiction, like all kinds of stuff,
Yeah. And it was the same with the cigarettes. They were like, wait, we think this is bad. No, it's good. I'm the owner of Instagram and it's good. It's fine. And then you get that round table bit where they're all like, okay, actually. But performing is really weird. And I think people with the skill is very weird. And with skating, it's interesting, when you think about like what the rink means and like being on a rink, skating with people in that sort of environment versus performance. And the thing I really find with performance and people that want to perform, and I talk to a lot of people that want to perform and stuff like that, is that like, I don't think performing, you're really lucky if it's the case. But I think people really confuse performing with what they get from the audience. You hear people say, oh, I love to perform because I get so much from the audience. They feel love from the audience and they want from, and what they get from the audience. But I've always been like, no, if I'm performing, it's not for me. It's for you. Like it's for the audience. Like my intention is for the audience and giving them something, giving. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to feel something from the audience, which I think is where it gets a little bit mixed up sometimes. So that I find that's, I think people get very confused in that place. Are you trying to sneak? I've got a sneaky husband sneaking in. What are you sneaking in for? That's what happens. There's no privacy in this house. Coming
Hi,
in,
Kevin.
interrupting. Yeah, we're still going. You got some thoughts on performance? How do you feel?
I don't have time for my own podcast.
Oh,
Like live performance?
yeah, live performance.
I love live performance.
I love live
Have you
performance.
told people about your podcast about your new thing?
I told them about how I think Avatar is the reason that activewear exists.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. What's my new thing? About how I'm a magician now? Yeah, I'm a magician now. I'm working now. I'm doing magic.
Yes.
New thing. Yeah. I've done
We'll
it
see
once.
that
I did one show at Dynamic Bags at Weirdo Night, but I'm again, like I need it to be, it's not for me. So I need to get it to that level. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
We want to see your Vegas show.
For real.
Yes. Come on. I just need the Impala equivalent of someone in Vegas to come and understand the vision,
Yes.
Write it down.
Exactly. Write it down.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I do have one last question. And this one, I think we're veering a little bit more into performance stuff, but that's also selfish for me because I'm also in nightlife and like getting into it and getting into performance stuff. So I'm kind of wondering, normally I like to ask like, do you have any advice for new skaters? But I think I'm also really wondering, like, do you have any advice for people who want to get into performance, but maybe feel like they can't,
Yes.
don't know where to start? Yeah, go for it.
I do, but no one ever wants to hear it.
I do. I want to hear it so badly.
Or it's usually not what people like.
Not
I
what
think
they wanna
people
hear.
always want to hear like, yeah, like follow your dreams, like believe in yourself and go. My question always is why? I'm like, why do you want to perform? What are you looking for? What is it? Because this is kind of what I said before in that earlier one, is like, I think a lot of people confuse performing with a place, an opportunity, a thing for them to get something out of it. And I think the best performers, the best shows, the best stuff that I see are people that are giving all to the audience. It's all for the audience. It's not for them. And I think if you're not confused about that, and if it's no, I want to perform, I have things I want to share, I want to show people what I can do, I want to, give people this experience, entertain people, I want to show them something, I want them to, see something different or challenge a perspective or give them something to think about, give them something to, all of that, then you're on the right road. Then you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get out there. And you can't practice without an audience. So you can practice a skill, like you can go to the skate park and practice and practice and practice and practice and practice a skill. But if you want to perform, you have to practice in front of an audience. That's the only way. That's why, sorry for the audience at Weirdo Night last week who had to see my very first magic act, but like I can't keep practicing magic without the audience because so much of it relies on the audience and understanding. You have to feel what they like, what they're in, what's working, what's not working. And so you just have to do it. And if you are going to vomit and you're like, I can't go on stage and I feel sick and I've stayed up, that's normal for the first little bit sometimes for some people. But if that's how you always feel, then maybe you don't need to do it.
Are you enjoying it?
I don't think
Period.
Yeah, exactly. Are you enjoying it? Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It is, I think, performance is, the best performances are a co-creation because it's always a relationship with the audience. And there are definitely performers that you can see who it's like, oh, you're not connecting with the audience at all. You're just doing the thing. And it's a different vibe, and it's not always as enthralling or as, connected, or it doesn't always evoke as much, from the audience sometimes when that's not there. So
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's never been more important in this era of like through screens and versus like in person, and it's a very wild time to be living through. I know people can argue that for lots of generations, but I truly think this really is a new thing, and it really is. It's only time that's going to tell. So eyes are open, ears are. I'm watching it all. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing so much of your time with us and giving us such cool insights on so many things.
This is incredible.
It's been so fun.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, and I love the name. Great name.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really been an honor to get to like chat with you and stuff. Like, yeah, it's been really, really sweet. And
where's the shop? I want to come see the shop.
5 Shred in Brooklyn, New York. We're the only skate shop in the 5 boroughs, which is wild.
Exciting. We nearly came out to New York a couple of months ago, but it didn't happen. But
we'll have to come through. And
if you're in town, swing by.
Yeah, we'll have to do episode 2, like you said, so we can talk more about Avatar.
I'm ready.
Yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about...
I used to live on Bank and Bleecker.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
What? Okay, cool.
So good. When I was touring, we used to always get, you'd get put up in the craziest places, and I was just like, oh my, we were like in the Sex and the City tour, and I was like, all these people buying cupcakes every day. It's crazy.
Oh man. Yeah. And next time I want to ask you about introducing your son to roller skating too. I didn't get a chance to ask that this time around.
Yeah, he's got the cutest little skates, tiny little skates.
Well, Marawa, I hope you have a great day.
But he's really mad at them because the wheels don't spin.
They don't spin.
Not in those.
So
not in those.
So he keeps taking mine.
Yeah,
because no. He's got they're black Timberlands. They're little Timberlands I got them customs with a little metallic frame with a little. Yes, with a clear purple. Well, don't you worry. No, we're not doing any of these Kmart skates. But I locked the wheels so that he can't like whoosh.
Okay.
So they're
That's smart.
But he's like, what is this? He's like, I don't want this. She's like, look at yours. And he sits there and he spins mine. And then he's like, well, these are broken. And I'm like, no, we just need to practice. He's like, I don't want, anyway, we'll get there.
All right, amazing. Well, I hope you have a really good day, and hopefully we'll get to chat again, right?
Yes, I would love nothing more. Thank you so much.
Yeah. After Avatar, we'll do that.
Yes, after Avatar. That'll be the episode name.
Oh my God.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye.